Alert! Global food prices have hit an all-time high. And this is not just for the food prices. I will show you more evidence of this today as the global economy is falling apart. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. This information here is out of CNS News, and they're using the statistics from the BLS. $4.15 per pound ground beef climbs to another record high. I consistently show you the inflation watch right here at the Money GPS because these prices continue to break records. And they said this: in August, the average price for a pound of all types of ground beef topped $4 for the first time. Here we are looking at this when they show us they manipulated statistics of inflation, and they propose to us that if an individual finds steak too expensive, they're going to choose ground beef instead. And that's the way they manipulate these so-called inflation rates, which do not measure food. They do not measure electricity prices and all of the essentials that we need. They basically don't measure anything because they can continue to change it as things get more expensive. But here they are, even ground beef becoming very expensive. Let's go into this. Electricity prices. Now remember I told you this is a global thing that's happening out of the Financial Post in Canada here, but this goes for everywhere around the world practically. Electricity price increases needed, they say it's needed, to power reliable system for future generations. That's right. We've been taking a record high amount from you and we need more. But is it really any more valuable today than it was yesterday? Is the system more reliable? Absolutely not. Local to me here in Toronto, we had a blackout period just about a year ago that left the power grid down for a considerable amount of time. Individuals were left without power here in the Toronto area, a major city, millions of people, and many people were left without power for weeks. And they say that this is reliable. Why are we paying increasing prices? My prices just increased recently yet again, and they are doing this at the same time where the reliability is declining. That's what you get. You get a worse product, a worse service at the same time you're paying more for it. That's what we are headed for right here in many situations. And this right here is U.S. poll finds most back the limits on coal emissions even if the power prices rise. That's right. They have so much faith in the government structure that they will say, look, whatever it needs to happen, just do it. Take all of my money. Yes, you want to do a bail-in? Sure, take my money. That's okay. As long as you promise to me that everything is going to be okay. As long as the teleprompter reader, head of state, prime minister, president is going to sit up there and going to promise that everything is okay, then I will just sit here and take it. That's exactly what's happening. I'm saying it in a sarcastic tone, of course, but sadly and sickeningly, you all on here, the Money GPS subscribers, you know how bad it is in the real economy. You hear and talk to people who actually do agree with this. This is crazy. You may have some people in your family, you may have friends, and they are just giving in to everything that their government is. I'm a liberal. I need to really do whatever Obama says. He's going to help the people. He promised. And you hear these people, they just begging at the feet of their government. It is actually very sad. This is nothing but the normalcy bias. And they're doing everything they can to believe what they have inside them and not willing to break out of that box. Let's go on. I quoted Alan Greenspan in my book. I'm sure you all know who Alan Greenspan is, former Federal Reserve Chairman. He said this: the United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that. The reason I mention this quote is that the reason our prices are increasing is because they're printing more money. The result of printing money is always the increase increase in prices. That's why the stock market's increasing, because they just pumping out that money, and it has to go somewhere. But of course, the real dollar value has declined. Let's go on here. Rich hoard cash as their wealth reaches record highs, out of CNBC. Yes, the rich are making more money. They are making more money than ever, but now they have to diversify that. They know that the stock market isn't the best place to keep all their wealth, so they are diversifying and in fact holding on to cash. They wanted liquid investments. Now let's go on here. Speaking of cash, this is a 7-year low for the currency. It's talking about the yen, which continues to tumble as it lost more than 30% of its value against the dollar since the start of 2012. This is out of the Business Insider, talking about a destruction of the currencies. I'll just scroll down very briefly just to show you the chart here, the multi-year tumble. And what I wanted to mention was that this is one currency versus another. But if you look at the prices people pay in Japan and you look at the prices people pay in the US, both of them have gone up. Do you see how this works? They make you think that the dollar is strong right now. It's really gaining. The U.S. economy is gaining. It's doing well. It's doing well. Don't listen to the money GPS. He doesn't know what he's talking about. You've heard this all before. But the fact remains is that the prices are going up. So you are more poor as a result. You can't make this stuff up, but they do to the mainstream medias project this image that everything's okay, and I'm not believing it, and I know you're not either. Once again, out of CNBC, this is actually quite interesting that he mentioned this. British Prime Minister David Cameron, this really big criminal here, warned in an opinion piece in the Guardian newspaper on Monday that the red warning lights are flashing for the world economy. You actually get a prime minister actually saying something like this. It is quite amazing. You know that things are heading in a bad direction. And I've been flashing these warning lights for a long time, and you know that this has been a cause of what they are doing. Their actual political diversions and distractions aren't enough to show you that the real prices are increasing, and it is happening right before our very eyes. And this right here, Citigroup executive found dead in tub, throat cut. And then they say that his death is suspicious and they're investigating. How many times do I need to bring out the information showing you about suicides or murders or suspicion of executives, all these different types of bankers, financiers, all these different people in the high-level banking and investment industry are winding up dead. This is at probably the highest level it has ever been. Over these past few years, particularly since the financial crisis, a lot of individuals have found themselves dead in similar situations such as this. We know that when this happens, we are at the peak of something, and something very bad is about to happen. Connected in with that, this whole issue with the immigration that's occurring right now, where President Obama gave amnesty to 5 million undocumented people here. But right here, this is Senator Sessions. He said this: President Obama repeatedly has said that he does not have the power to do what he's just done. It's really a breathtaking overreach of monumental proportions. You could see his face there as he's just shocked by what has happened, as the president, or emperor as I like to call him, he is finding his own ways to create laws. Of course, that is not how the government works. The parliament or the Congress, depending on where you live, makes the laws. The president or prime minister does not make the laws. That's the way this works. Executive orders are, in my opinion, completely illegal. I'm sure you do agree with that as well. You cannot have laws created by one individual. That's an emperor. That's a dictator. That is not somebody following the rules, and that's exactly what's happening. These politicians, the bankers, the technocrats, they are completely out of order, and they are really doing things to hurt the individual, and you can see this as the inflation is picking up in things like food and electricity, the things that we need to survive. If you found this informative, please give me a thumbs up, as it really helps me out a lot. It also signals to the other YouTubers out there that this is a good video. And if you haven't already, you really need to join the Money GPS Insiders. It's where I give out all my best intel for free, and that is available at themoneygps.com. You scroll down to the bottom, fill in your email address, and you get occasional emails from me with good, short, concise info.